A video game's art style makes it definable when compared to other games, but why would a leading game completely alter its art style when it was the central key to their success?
Cuban like my chain, going to a high stage. She gon' come to my place, do whatever I say.
There's something about Fortnite's simplistic yet very detailed art style that makes it so much different from modern day Fortnite and even other games. Every time I see a lobby screen or old gameplay, I get the chills. Most people would say it's nostalgia based, but I think it's the simplicity and the true craft that Epic Games put into making not only Fortnite Battle Royale, but save the world. A good comparison of Fortnite's old art, I would think, would be like an old TV show. I like to compare it a lot to SpongeBob. Whenever it was about 2008, even 2009, there was something about having a lot of detail in a show, but it being so simplistic made it a lot better. It seems like now everything is chaotic and everything is meant to draw your attention so much more. But in the end, whenever something draws your attention too much and it feels addicting, it doesn't feel as special. Like with Fortnite, they've switched a lot more to the creative aspect, allowing other developers to make maps so that they can take most of the workload off of themselves. The biggest problem with these creative maps though is that there's just so many, and all of the creative maps have non-stop action for the most part, leading the simplicity of the game to almost vanish. Most of Chapter 1 Fortnite's art style was originated from Save the World, a survival zombie game where you had to build forts, kill zombies, and just survive. But the team that developed Save the World was given a unique development style that created the classic art style not just with the sky, the grass, or even the textures around. It was mostly with the models. They were set to make everything imperfect, creating wonky and curved buildings, along with imperfect TVs, doors, and weapon models. This helped both Battle Royale and Save the World a lot, specifically due to the fact that no other game has really done this before. Imperfections make a game feel authentic, leading the player to feel a better connection in the game, which I believe definitely led to a lot of nostalgia. But obviously, this imperfect art style wasn't just the only thing that led Chapter 1 Fortnite to have one of the best art styles. It was mostly the oversaturated sky, the mountains, and the distance. Everything combined together imperfectly perfect. The goofy weapons that they would add, along with the utility that they would give you, made the game have a certain style that was recognizable compared to any other game. I could sit here for hours and hours and talk about just how perfect the art style truly was. But in all reality, it does no good. Epic Games saw such a large success in Battle Royale, intended to want to innovate, just like how any other game would want. If they wanted to capitalize and be on top, they would have to compete with every other game, and the only way was to innovate. But when does innovation come too far and completely divert the game into something different? Fortnite Chapter 2 was one of the biggest turning points for the game that we've ever seen. There were new additions like fishing, swimming, a brand new map, weapon upgrades, and so much more. But one of the biggest changes that were looked over the most was the art style and visuals. Epic Games had completely changed all of the original visuals that they had, weapon models, the UI, the fonts, and the list keeps going on and on. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that this change was bad. It's something fresh that Fortnite needed because we had the same art style, weapon models, weapons, and map for over 2 years. Also, Fortnite's interest started to decline at such a rapid rate that they needed something to boost their player count and also their sales. But all in all, Fortnite was heading towards something and preparing for events that would completely change their game forever.
From the club around 3:30, I've been up in it going James Worthy. I've been up going away up, thinking about it all day. Fuck, open up, baby. You know that I'm going right now. 100 bottles.
Travis Scott's live event in 2020 held over 12 million concurrent players, setting a new all-time record for Fortnite Battle Royale. It was one of the best weeks in Fortnite's history, and it truly showed the possibility for gaming and for Fortnite. But there's just one problem. If Epic Games could only get this high of a player count with collaborations, would they still be able to keep their original style while still being able to innovate, or would they have to completely alter their overall style to fit the realism of the collabs? Epic Games saw such a massive success in all of the collaborations that they were including into the game that they decided to dedicate a season with a focus on a Marvel superhero theme storyline called Nexus War. It was the first time where we really received guns in game, a whole new battle pass, and a lot of different items that really was focused more towards external characters from the game. It was really a cool concept, and personally, Chapter 2 Season 4, in my opinion, was one of the greatest seasons that we've ever received in Fortnite. And overall, the season just did amazing for Fortnite. Since the season did so well, and they realized that they could do much more collaborations rather than just making original items, Fortnite had a huge mindset switch with the way that they handled seasons and chapters. We started to see more integrations of collaborations like Rick and Morty in Chapter 2 Season 7, which tied a lot with the alien theme. Spider-Man came in Chapter 3 Season 1, where he was given his own mythic, but Epic Games wasn't getting fully into collabs until Chapter 5. Now, the biggest thing about Chapter 5 is that Epic Games switched from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. Now, you might be asking, how does this tie into the art style of Fortnite at all? Well, what a lot of people noticed during Fortnite Chapter 5 in the beginning is that it was much more realistic. And the biggest thing with Chapter 5 as well is that they leaned so much more away from the cartoonish style and focused more on the realism to bring in more collaborations. That being soccer players, football players, movies, basically anything you can think of, Epic Games wanted to be able to capitalize on and bring more into the game, which makes a lot of sense. But whenever you focus more on the unoriginality and drive more towards what your game's core styles were, a lot of the community will split either by staying and actually enjoying it or leaving and finding other games, creating a whole new player base, and in my opinion, a whole new game. And I've seen a lot of art style videos talking about multiple other games, but I think one of the biggest switches in art style has to be from Fortnite, solely because they grew at such a fast pace and took over the world so much quicker than any other game. I think that's the biggest reason why they switched their art style. The collaborations, the rapid advancement, and so many other factors leading to it. The Epic Games felt stuck and feel like they needed to grow. And a quote that I would like you to reflect on with the art style of Fortnite that you will experience many times in your life: don't mourn the sunset. It's what makes the sunrise so powerful.